What if I tell you that the future of farming doesn't lie in factories but in the hands of families, that somewhere just outside the noise of the city, there is a small Ontario dairy rewriting the story of how milk gets to your table, not through the machines and middlemen, but through passion, ethics, and community. Today, we take you inside Golspie Dairy, a family-run farm where tradition meets innovation, where every bottle of milk is not just a product, but a promise. In a time when most of us cannot name a single farmer, this episode introduces you to the people who are fighting to make food personal again. We are joined with Marja, who is not just a farmer, but stewardess of the land, defenders of the sustainable food, and voice of a quiet revolution in Canadian agriculture. If you ever wondered what goes into that glass of milk, what keeps small farms alive in a world of giants, or how you can eat in a way that truly matters, you are in for something special. Stick around because what's coming next is not just a story of cows and cream, it's a story of courage, care, and community. Welcome to the ASA Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, Marja. Thank you for your time. You came all the way up from your farm to our set. Thank you very much for that. So we all know that Canada is the second biggest country in the world. But out of that, 90%, I would say, 90% of the land is just frozen. Tundra, I would say. Right? And then only the southern belt and whatever is the area that we can actually use for farming. In a habitable place, right, basically. So, farming in Canada is not an easy job. Depending on the climate and various other factors, if you take those, and we only have 3 months or 4 months of crop time, right?
Yep.
So, what is the biggest challenge basically doing farming in Canada?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges of being a farmer in Canada is just the economics of it. Land values are really high, the cost of equipment is really high, but for the most part, commodity prices are low. So it's just trying to figure out, especially if you're a smaller farm, how you can still actually afford to farm. A lot of people will have a second job off the farm, or you have to figure out how to add value to the product that you're already creating to basically increase the amount of money that you actually get for the work that you do. So that's actually one of the reasons why we decided to do our own processing of milk on farm, just to basically take something that we're already creating and then get a little bit more value for it.
So growing crops is a different thing, and running a dairy is a different thing, right?
Yeah.
So you are actually raising animals, which again has its own challenges, right? And being a small, I would say, farm or a dairy or a business, right? Small business. What kind of challenges do you face other than farming in terms of dairy running or raising animals and whatever, right? For the dairy, basically, what kind of challenges do you see?
Yeah, I guess the challenge is that we do have a lot of hats that we wear. So we are growing crops in the fields, so that has its own challenges. We're growing crops both to feed our cows, but then we do have a bit of extra acreage, so we grow crops to sell on the commodity market. And then we are looking after those animals, so they always need your love and attention every day. They like to have clean beds to lie in. They like to have food brought to them multiple times a day. They have to be milked twice a day. And then on the processing side, we have lots of customers and they want fresh milk. So that means that we're processing all the time. We're cleaning. There's a lot of cleaning on the processing side. And then there's also the customer interaction. So yeah, there's a lot of things and they're all different and they all have to get done basically every day. So
on the way we go to London, towards London, basically Oxford County. Yeah. It's all farmland, farm county, right?
Yeah.
So there are so many farmers and whatever, right? But most of the people raise crops, they grow wheat, corn, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or even in your case, is there a common point that you can say between raising crop and animal, in terms of struggles, right? And
yeah. Well, I think we all kind of understand the costs of it too. Like land values have just continued to increase like quite rapidly in the last decade. So whether you're trying to grow more crops on that land and you have to either rent or buy more property, or in the case of animals, you still need land to grow crops to feed them, or you have to buy crops from someone else who's growing them to feed them. So like we all understand the struggle of that. And then if you are growing crops, there's always the weather. So
Yeah.
that's a big commonality. Like some areas, like that if you're not getting enough rain or you're getting too much rain, it's the same struggle everywhere. But yeah, so that is kind of a commonality. Like you understand the struggle that everyone else is seeing. And yeah, whether you're growing animals or growing crops, a lot of people, they do have like mixed operations, so they are doing a little bit of both. So yeah, whether like you're growing beef or pigs or chickens.
So if you ask me, I know about farm.
Yeah.
I may not have much of a knowledge. I'm not into farming.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say if the next generation.
Yeah.
Say it could be my own kid, or probably your kids, right? How challenging it will be in terms of learning the farming, or because the automation is coming up. And it's not the same struggle what you might have currently experiencing, or in the past, if your parents were doing were into the farming, they may have experienced a total different strategy on facing the challenges or handling the challenges. How it is going to be difficult for the next generation.
Yeah, I think there is so much cool automation coming down. So even just in the last decade or two, for like farms of our type, so dairy farms, there's a lot of automation coming to barns. So a lot of people, like, you're milking cows twice a day, but you might be able to buy a robot, and then the cows can actually go to the robot and go as many times a day as they want. So if they're earlier in their lactation, they can go multiple times a day, and the robot is working 24 hours a day and it's milking the cows for you. So you'll still have tasks to do, but you don't actually have to do like the daily milking anymore. So your time is a little bit more your own to be flexible with. There's automation in the feeding technology, even in bedding systems for barns. So there's some barns out there that they've been able to invest in a lot of technology, and that has allowed them basically more flexibility and freedom with their time, and they maybe don't need to actually spend as much time in the barn. And we're seeing also automation in like field work. So a lot of tractors these days, there's a ton of automation in the cab. So some tractors you don't even really need to drive. They're self-driving. You can just kind of sit in the cab and let the tractor make a lot of the decisions. So it makes... Okay. Yeah, so like even like if you look out in a field and you see how perfectly straight some of the rows are, a lot of that is because of the auto steer in tractors. So,
okay.
Yeah, like a lot of farmers are very good at driving, but if the tractor can help you stay on course, that's also very nice.
Yeah, I always wonder because we always see this
they're
pattern
perfect.
Straight. Yeah, I always wonder how are these people driving?
Yeah,
right?
we don't have any tractors on our farm that are that fancy. So my father-in-law is just very, very good. So if you do look at our fields and you see how nice and straight those lines are, that's all him. He's doing that.
So you said about having a robot to milk the cow.
Yes.
Wouldn't that separate that love and passion towards touch and feel of having a pet, or having I know it back in my own town, if I go visit who really have a field or a paddy field, they have a special love and a passion towards talking towards the pets, especially the cows or the ox they use for the fields. By when you said that, it just took me all the way there, and I started thinking about how that will be the attention or the closeness towards the farm animals, that's going to get extended right now, or they get separated in my opinion.
And that could be some way of looking at it, but in a lot of cases, actually, because of the robot taking on some of those jobs like that, you actually get to spend more time with your animals, actually checking them and making sure they're healthy and happy, because you don't have to spend those hours instead like milking them, which for a lot of cows, it's not their favorite thing. Right? Whereas the robot is very consistent and like knows how to do the job properly and comfortably. So for the cows, actually, in a lot of ways, they can be more relaxed. And the robot milkers, how they work is they actually give the cows a treat while they're getting milked. So the cows like that too. So in some ways, like, yes, you're not getting that same attention because you're not milking the cow, but in other ways, you're doing the task, like you're taking away the task that both the human maybe doesn't like and the cow doesn't like the human doing. So it works out better, and then you can spend more of your time actually just hanging out with your cows, checking to make sure they're happy.
Speaking of the time, we heard about time a lot, right? Using automation and difference between how much time a person spend usually, like from the morning they wake up, and then what's the time that they spend in the farm or with the animals?
Yeah. Well, every farm is different, and how you're set up and like how many employees you have. Or on our farm, for example, it's just family. We don't actually have any additional employees. We're going to have an employee in the cheese plant helping in the store for 1 day a week. So that's very exciting. But yeah, that's our first employee. So for us, it's a lot of work every day for the family. We're out in the barn. You're out in the morning, milking the cows, feeding the cows, bedding the cows, and then you're back in the afternoon to do it all again. So we're probably spending, depending on if everything is working properly in the barn, like there's always a human in there at least 8 to 10 hours a day.
Wow. Every day.
Yeah. Every day.
So it's kind of a job.
The cows don't take a break. They like to be fed and milked every day. So yeah, even Christmas, weekends, it's 365 days a year. So I think that's something a lot of people have a hard time like remembering, that it's just like hospitals, right? There always has to be someone there. Exactly. It's just something that you can't just shut down. So even if like it's minus 40 outside and it's icy, you're still out in the barn.
That is still a very interesting fact, right? Like these climatic change, like the seasonal change. For us, I know that there is a very cozy place. You can come inside, like turn on the heater and sit in a couch. But when you have a farm, how it is going to be, for the cows or any other animals that are being raised in the farm. And will there be any difficulties that they really have during that seasonal changes?
Oh, in the winter, so cows, their preferred temperature is about like 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. So they love the spring, they love the fall. Summer, they're not huge on. Winter, they're okay as long as like your barn keeps the wind out. Like cows are much happier than we humans are in that cold temperature. But the winter, it does bring challenges in that things freeze. So sometimes your water lines freeze. Sometimes like your manure scrapers freeze. So for humans, like the winter, it's cold and you don't really want to be out there. But you have to be out there even longer because you have to thaw everything and you have to like clean all your laneways. So yeah, the summer heat is not so great and all the field work in the summer, but the winter also, you're just out there longer because you're moving snow around and getting rid of all the frost and stuff.
So how do you really feed the animals during winter?
So in Canada, because we have such a short growing season, this is something that a lot of people ask. They're like, are your cows grass fed? And it's like, yeah, they do eat a lot of grass, but if you look outside in January, you don't see much grass. So, we have to do things like we have to grow all their feed during the growing season, and then we harvest it in different ways and, maintain it in different ways to maintain like the nutritional value and make sure that it still tastes really good. Because I don't know if you've ever bought like lettuce from the grocery store, like it does not last very long, even in the fridge. So like we employ different technologies for our hay. So you can either, if you have a really good spell of weather, you can take dry hay off the field. So you get it really dry and then you bale it and you store it somewhere out of the rain and the wind. Sometimes it's just too wet, or depending on what you have storage space for, you will then actually bale your hay or you'll collect it and you'll ferment it. So if you've ever seen like different silos on farms, like those really big, tall towers that are quite wide, sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're gray and cement. Sometimes they're a different type of silo altogether, and they're a bunker silo. So they kind of almost look like a big like trampoline outside. That's all different ways of storing feed. So a lot of times that feed is fermented. So you use special bacteria, and they just ferment the feed so that it doesn't get moldy, and then it stores throughout the winter.
Back in my village, they go feed the animal, every 3 hours or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But here, when I was driving, I used to see they gaze around in the field.
Yeah.
How it matters keeping it very indoor and keep feeding it, or just letting them out to gaze around.
Yeah, so there are some farms that do manage to like graze their cows exclusively when the weather is good. So like probably between like June and September. But a lot of farms have transitioned to like their cows are mainly inside, and then you bring the feed to the cows. It's all different management decisions. In terms of milk quality, that's a different discussion. For a lot of farms, when you do see cows outside, sometimes they're actually the younger stock, so the heifers, or they're like cows on their dry period, just so then you don't have to bring them back and forth between the barn twice a day, right? Because that can be a bit of a task too, moving animals in and out. And often actually with our cows, what we find, they love to go outside in the summer at night, but they do not like to be outside in the summer during the day. So even the ones that we do have outside, as soon as they see you, they run to the door because they're like, please let me in the barn. It's too hot out here. And also I see that the cows in the barn have a little bit of corn, and they all love corn. And like when they're outside, we're usually just letting them graze, and we're feeding them hay, and then like they'll get a little bit of like a nutritional pellet. But
so we talked a lot about farming basic stuff about farming, but we'll go back to your story. Tell us about your Golspie Dairy. What prompted you to start that? Actually, we don't know anything about Golspie Dairy. People don't know mostly. So tell us about your story.
So Golspie Dairy, it's the dairy processing plant on the Marshall family farm. So the farm name is actually Glen Athol Farm, which is a bit of a mouthful. So that's why when we built the dairy processing plant, we called it Golspie Dairy, because if you actually drive to the plant, you'll see the little signposts. Golspie is the name of the hamlet that we're located in. So we decided to just go with that rather than trying to name the plant after the name of the farm, because it's just too hard for even me to say, let alone anyone else. We could have chosen a different name, but we thought, you know what, we'll just keep it easy. Geography. That's where we are. We're in Golspie. So different people pronounce it differently. But yeah, so I actually came to the farm a little more than a decade ago. I married into the family that owns the farm. So it's been in the Marshall family for 150 years. And then Golspie Dairy has been operating about 3 years now. So yeah, we'd like to say we've been dairy farmers for 150 years, and we've been making cheese and pasteurizing milk for about 3 years now. Yeah, it's been interesting. I actually grew up in town, so it's been a really big adjustment for me, because I grew up, you could walk everywhere. There were gas stations everywhere. There were things like weekends where you had time off. So it was definitely the first few years where like, what? You have to work again today? You have to work every day? And having to remember actually to like get gas in my car, because I won't necessarily be driving past a gas station, or like if you need something in town, like you better plan for it, because living out of the countryside, all of a sudden you're a lot further away from a lot of the things that you take for granted when you're in town. Or even now I have a daughter, so like if we want to go to the playground, like that is a trip. It's not walking down the road to the playground. It's like, okay, this is like an afternoon outing. But she has a lot of other advantages, because we grow up, like she's growing up in the countryside, and it's
countryside,
really
the farm, yeah.
beautiful, and there's so much room to run around.
Exactly. So what sparked the idea to set up this dairy? Is there a particular reason that you...
Yeah. Well, we had always been thinking it would be interesting to add value to the milk that we're already producing because, I don't know, we think it's really good. So we thought, people might be interested in actually just trying the milk that just we produce instead of, like, the milk at the grocery store is great, but it can be, like, dozens of different farms' milk that all goes to the same large processor that then mixes it all together, pasteurizes it, packages it, right? So I think, like, depending on the different farm, everyone feeds a little differently. Your land's a little different. The crops you grow are a little different. So I think that really does affect the flavor and maybe, like, how much you love your cows. And we love our cows so much that I think you can really taste that.
Yeah, to be honest, somebody actually referred us to the dairy.
Yeah.
We always buy from whatever the big supermarkets, right? So somebody said, hey, there is a dairy here. Try the milk there, and then we bought it. Actually, there's a lot of difference between the milk that we buy in grocery store, I would say, or supermarkets or whatever, and then from here, right? The fat I don't know what we call that, the thickness.
The fat, yes,
fat,
yeah.
There's a lot of difference, and the taste itself is different. Is a lot better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think some of that also comes down to the fact, like, we don't separate the milk at all, so you do get more milk fat in the milk, and we pasteurize it at a lower temperature, too, so I think that affects the flavor. And the milk, it doesn't have to be on a truck very long, so it's a lot fresher. So there's all different reasons, I think, that affect the flavor compared to the grocery store milk, but in Canada, we're lucky in that the milk is really high quality, regardless of where you get it from, so...
but it depends on different kinds of milk.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are. We did try some milk which is just water. Right?
Yeah, if you get like the skim milk or the 1% at the grocery store, that is a totally different experience. Yeah, but some people really like it.
Yeah. So the milk dairy is the milk or how to say that?
Which one? The dairy?
Producing milk is always part of your farm?
Yeah. So we've always been like milk producers. So we've always had cows. We've always milked the cows. And then the milk has always gone on a milk truck to a different milk processor. Yeah. So that, like, they would then take that milk, they'd pasteurize it, they'd bag it, it would go to a store. So, 3 years ago, we built our own plant. So now the milk actually doesn't leave the farm. So we have we have this little trailer actually that we connect to the tractor. So then that gets taken to the barn, and then on certain days of the week, we're allowed to pump milk into the trailer, and then the trailer goes to the cheese plant where the milk is received and is pasteurized. So pasteurization is also another process that I think a lot of people don't quite understand what it is, because it is a fancy word, but all it means is that we're heating the milk up in our case, we're only heating the milk up to 63 degrees Celsius. So it's not even close to boiling, but it's warm enough that if there is anything in the milk that could harm you, it's just deactivating that. So then it's not sterilizing it. There's still lots of good stuff in that milk, and it's not affecting like the nutrients in the milk at all, but it's just making it a safe product for everyone. So then after it gets up to that temperature, then we just cool it back down. So we don't add anything. It's just heat. And in our case, we also don't separate the milk at all. So all that milk fat's still in there, and we don't homogenize it. So homogenization is another process that I think a lot of people are like, I don't know what that means.
I heard it.
And homogenization, it's just for plants that do homogenize, the milk is basically fed through a really fine filter, which fat globules in milk are actually bigger particles. So if you homogenize it, it breaks up those fat globules, and then they don't rise to the top of the milk anymore. They stay suspended in the milk. So for some people, they really like that, because having to shake the milk or skim the cream off is kind of a little different. But if you have homogenized milk, you just know that every part of that bag of milk or that container of milk has the same amount of fat.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with our milk, if you leave it in the fridge for a day after you come get it from the milk dispenser, you will notice like there is a cream line at the top because the fat globules have like basically globbed together, floated up to the top, which I don't know, I think is kind of fun. And for some people, they like to skim that, use that in their coffee or their tea, or some people make butter out of it. But usually what I do is I just shake it back in.
So when you said about you are transitioning or raising in a town, growing up in a town, and then coming into a remote area.
Yes.
How was the transition for you? Were you prepared for being at a farm or doing this as a regular routine? How was the initial transition?
Oh, it definitely took me a little bit of time. Luckily, like I kind of knew what I was getting into in some ways. My grandparents both lived on farms, so like I understood what farming was, but yeah, it definitely took a little bit to adjust because there are no weekends. Even on holidays, you're working. It's just, and you kind of learn the schedule too, right? Like I think in town, your time is a little more flexible depending on like your job and stuff. Whereas on the farm, like the cows are expecting you to be out in the barn every morning at 5 a.m. They don't care that it's Christmas. They don't care that it's Saturday or that you're sick. They're like, no, you need to be here to milk me. You need to be here to give me food. So you better get here.
So you're which town are you from?
So I grew up. It's in a town called Georgetown, so it's near Milton on the way to Toronto. So about an hour and 15 minutes from here.
It's a city actually, right? It's not a town.
Oh, I know. It keeps getting bigger. When I was there, it was smaller. But now, that whole area, everything's just... Milton is connecting to Halton Hills, which is connecting to Brampton, Mississauga. Yeah, it's all just one city now. Yeah, Greater Toronto area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after the transition,
yes.
How does that your day typically change? Because you have to run on a schedule, and how you manage your time and how does a day look for you typically?
So for me, luckily, like my husband is the one that does most of the barn chores, and my father-in-law, they're the ones looking after the cows every day. So I get to look after the processing plant. So in that case, I do kind of get to choose like what days I process milk on and like the tasks. So in my case, like we have a milk vending machine, and because there's milk in it, you want to keep that machine really clean because milk is a great thing for other things to grow in. Exactly. So like every morning we have to run detergent through the lines in the machine, and I scrub the whole thing down because there's always some milk that spills. Even I spill milk when I use the vending machine. So I go there every morning. Some mornings a little earlier than others. I try to always have it open by 10 a.m. So I clean the whole machine, get it ready for the day. Then depending on the day, I'm either pasteurizing milk or running the store. But on the dairy farm side, it's always the same routine. Cows get milked, cows get fed, cows get a clean bed.
Yeah, well, like you already mentioned, I know that the farm have a history of over 150 years.
Yeah.
Right, and how many number of generations the farm has seen already?
So my husband is the 5th generation on that farm. And then our daughter is the 6th generation. So quite a few. And we're actually lucky enough to live in the house that my husband's great-grandparents built. So there's a lot of history that surrounds us every day. It's just kind of cool to think that, everyone has been working the same land and just trying to keep that farm going.
So now in the farm, what are the different types of animals that we can see or know you're raising?
So we just have cows. So we have a herd of about 30 cows, and then also like the younger stock, so the calves and the heifers. And then in terms of animals on the farm, we also do have a lot of cats. So barn cats are just something that you see everywhere. So we quite like them. We feed them. They also are the pest control. Because, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like having cats around, but there's a lot of worse things that you could have around, and the cats keep those things under control. So, we like the cats. The cats like us. They're pretty friendly. So, both basically we have cats and we have cows.
Cows.
Someday I would love to have chickens or like some ducks or something, but we're pretty busy right now, so it's like, you know what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking after like 30 cows and humans, that's enough for right now. So I don't know. A lot of people, they are always asking for eggs though. So
Right.
yeah, maybe in a couple of years. I have a 4.5-year-old daughter at home, so I'm hoping maybe she'll decide that she really wants chickens, and then that can be her job.
In one of our recent visit to the dairy, we saw people coming in horses. Do you also have horse in the farm?
Have what?
Horses.
Oh, so our neighbors right beside us, they have horses. So if you go like a little bit further down the laneway, if you see the horses, then you know you're on the next farm. So yeah, I think they have 4 or 5 horses right now. So it's very cool to see them. We always see them riding down the road. When our hay is off the fields, then we let them ride throughout those fields too. And actually, if you go in our store and you see the maple syrup we have for sale, that maple syrup all actually comes from that farm that the horses are on. So they have this big cool shed where they take the sap from the maple trees and they boil it down until it's syrup.
The vending machine that you are installed or that you are using, we only have 3 in entire Canada. All right.
I think there might be a few more. I think there's one like in the middle of Saskatchewan. There's one out in Cape Breton, and I think there's a handful in BC. But yeah, there are very few of those machines.
And in Ontario should be one?
I think it's just
only
us.
Dairy
Right?
Yeah.
There might be a few, like I know I've heard of a few people that are thinking of installing them, but I think so far we're the only ones that have one up and running.
So if you have so much, so it's very rare to have those vending machines, right? So there is no any issue with the government or bureaucracy for because it's food, right? FDA basically.
Yeah, so I think that's part of the reason why we don't see more of them. So when we wanted to actually get the vending machine, I had to work with both like our public health officer in our region, as well as at the provincial level, OMAFA, so that's the Ontario Ministry of Agricultural, Food and Rural Affairs, I want to say. They also have inspectors that come and make sure the facility is up to snuff. So I had to work with both those inspectors and show them the machines and show them how it worked and how I was going to clean them. And they also come and they swab them all the time and they make sure they're running properly because no one has these machines, so they want to make sure that they're going to be clean and safe and sanitary. So it did take some convincing, and it was also the middle of the pandemic when we bought it.
Exactly.
So it was a little bit scary because we just sent a lot of money over to Europe and hoped that they would send us a machine and that it would actually work. So yeah, it was a bit of we were sweating for a few months until we figured out, you know what, it does work and people actually like it. Yeah, it was quite the investment.
Is there any support from government to establish? It comes from a small scale business, right? So is there any?
Yeah, so governmental wise, we were able to use a few grant programs because in order to have that machine, actually, you need somewhere to pasteurize the milk. So we had to build that entire processing plant. So it has like a very expensive pasteurizer in it and a bunch of other equipment. So it was no small feat financially to pull off. So I think if it was easier, we'd definitely see more of them. But until like regulations change or people find a more efficient way of doing it, I don't think you'll see a whole lot of farms going that route just because you really do need to put in a lot of effort and sell a lot of products for it to actually make sense financially.
Standards are all set by the government itself, right?
Yes, yeah. So for us, even like though we're a small on-farm processor, the standards that we have to meet are the same for all the other processors. Like the one regulation that we get that's a little easier is I don't have to have a truck bay and like the ability to wash a huge milk truck because we're so small, and I have my own trailer that I have a little truck bay for that it sits in and washes in. So they make it a little easier in terms of that. But for everything else, like they still expect, like you are still expected to maintain a really sanitary condition, which I understand, and I want my facility to be super clean because that's where you get like the milk quality and the longer shelf life. right?
The standards are all same for all milk suppliers.
Yeah.
I did not see any bags. You are always using either food quality, food grade plastic or
Oh,
the
like
glass
milk
bottles.
bags.
Yeah, milk bags.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
I
the-
think I've never actually had the opportunity to see the packaging machines that make the milk bags.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like it's probably a more expensive processing line. Because
Mhm.
that's the thing, right? For like all the equipment that you need, like depending on like how you want to package your product, the packaging lines can be like hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, just like all the equipment that you need for that. So for us, it was either the only affordable options was me hand filling
Mhm.
bottles or putting in a machine so that our customers can hand fill the
Exactly.
bottles, because to put in any automation was just not something that works at our scale and for our budget.
Okay, so there's no regulation that you cannot use bags. That's
No,
okay.
yeah. So like some larger dairies are using bottles, or like you'll see cartons, but I think bags are a really like specific Canadian thing. I don't
Yeah,
think you
uh-huh.
really see them
Yeah,
throughout the world.
exactly. Mhm.
But like I think they're pretty great. Like it's a very efficient means of packaging. Like the bags are really tough, but like it's not a lot of plastic too. Like if you compare it to like a plastic jug, right? So environmentally, I think it's probably better to get your milk in bags than always in plastic jugs. But yeah, and it's probably a really sanitary way of doing it too. And it's really efficient even in terms of raw materials.
Which one? Using bags?
Using bags, right?
Mhm.
So like with plastic jugs, if you think about it, like for places that fill plastic jugs, you have to buy all those empty jugs, so they have to come on a truck to the plant
Oh, yeah,
to be
right,
filled
yeah. Mhm.
to then leave. But with plastic bags, like the roll stock they would use to create those bags, like a roll that can like hold hundreds of thousands of liters of milk probably doesn't take up more space than a pallet. So you
Mhm.
can like move that packaging around a lot easier.
Right? Yeah.
But I think that's something that most people don't think about, because unless you're in like logistics.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, moving around air and like empty plastic packaging, that's just not super efficient and it's expensive.
Right. You mentioned that there is no horses at your farm, right?
No, yeah,
Uh,
there used to be horses. So
Oh.
like back before tractors, we had horses.
Mhm.
How useful that would be, like having a horse. Now you don't have a horse.
Yeah, I think there's probably some people still farming with horses. Like if you go to different parts of Ontario, you'll see Mennonite farms, and they still use horses in some ways. But yeah, most people, the tractors are a lot more powerful, unless you have a lot of horses. And you also don't have to like feed them and maintain them in the same way that you do horses. So I think for a lot of people, horses are just something that you have more like as a pet, right?
There is a grooming awareness about animal welfare. You know? Is that
Exactly.
one of the
Yes.
reason for avoiding horse and just like shifting to a mechanical?
Well, I think tractors just end up being a much more efficient choice in terms of economics too. And it's just, yeah, like there's a reason why you see tractors everywhere and not horses. But yeah, a lot of people still like horses. I'm a little scared of horses. But they're just, I don't know, they're different than cows.
So what is ethical farming, or ethical dairy from your perspective, and what is very much being practiced in Golspie?
Yeah, so for us, like we have a really small herd of cows. So we have about 30 cows. So we know them all.
Yeah.
They all have names, but like in Canada, every cow has a name.
Mhm.
When you
Okay.
register your cow, you have to give it a name.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's not unique to us that our cows have names, but yeah, like we know their different temperaments. We know how they're feeling that day. We know how, like, what their favorite food is and who they're friends with in the herd and all
Uh-huh.
that stuff.
So you can really recognize the name the cow on the name by
So
looking at
I'm
them?
not as good because I don't spend as much time in the barn, but my husband, he knows the cows by looking at them from their head,
Okay.
but he also knows them by looking at them from their udder.
Oh, okay.
He is very aware of all his cows.
Okay.
Yeah, because like we are the only ones looking after them, spending time with them, making sure all their needs are met. Yeah, I think everyone has a different perspective on what that means, but for us it just means like they're your animals and you're taking care of them because like not only do they help us support our lifestyle, but we just love them. And I don't know, a happy cow makes really good milk. Right? There's no point in not having happy cows. It's just a bad decision, both from an animal welfare perspective, but also from an economic perspective, right? Because a not happy cow is probably going to be sick.
Exactly.
And, right? It's just going to cause different issues. So at the end of the day, like you better just take really good care of those cows, right? And then they'll take care of you.
Yeah. So now the animals that are helping to continue using the dairy, continue with the dairy.
Yeah.
Talking about the farm.
Yeah.
It has to help you in terms of having a healthy soil, and which will help you to grow the crops throughout this changing season. How do you manage to keep the soil more fertile?
Yeah. So because we have dairy animals, one thing that cows produce is manure. So it's pretty smelly, but there's a lot of really good nutrients in it. So what we do is we spread that manure on our fields, so that helps add back nutrients. It adds back also like carbon to the soil. So that's one really good way that we maintain our fields. We also we rotate our crops. So you don't want to grow the same crop on the same field year after year because it's not great in terms of disease, but it's also different crops require different nutrients. So maybe one crop needs a lot of nitrogen. So if you keep growing out on the same field year after year, you're going to really quickly deplete your soil of nitrogen. So you want to rotate it. So we have a really specific order that we move our crops through our fields. Yeah, so those are all different management decisions. We also work with people who are smarter than us. So we like to call them like agronomists. So what they do is they come out and they look at the fields. They study the plants. They say, oh, I think in this area of your field, you're maybe lacking this nutrient. Or we're seeing like these insects, or we're seeing like these weeds growing. So then they help us develop a plan to keep those under control and keep everything healthy. So yeah, you just basically you can't do it all on your own. You need to rely on people that have experts. So yeah, and it's the same for our cows. We work with nutritionists, so they actually come and they take samples of all the feed that we grow, and they analyze them and they see like what nutrients are in abundance, but also which ones might be deficient, and they actually develop like a special basically multivitamin kind of, if you think of it, in pellet form that we then like feed our cows just so that they are in peak condition and they're not lacking anything. So yeah, our cows basically, like, we have a way better nutrition profile for them than like most humans have for themselves, right? Like, I don't know, I'm not studying my food, I'm not studying my body condition and saying like, oh, I think I need a lot more zinc, but like for our cows, that's what we're doing. We're making sure that they are getting like the healthiest possible food into them every day.
And talking about cows, right? What is the longevity of a cow? Like, big from the time of birth, growing as a calf, and then being well matured, and how long does a cow stays healthy?
Yeah, so it all depends. Cows are like humans. Sometimes you live a lot longer than others. For most of our cows, usually they have their first calves like between 2 and 3 years of age. And then they join the herd, and as long as they're feeling good and they're producing calves regularly, then we keep them as long as possible. So we have some cows that are like 10 years old, some are older. Different farms have different management styles. Sometimes you'll have a cow that like they'll just get really bad mastitis or different diseases in their udder, so like staph or something. And then those are cows that you don't necessarily want to keep just because it really lowers the quality of the milk they're producing. And some of those, it can pass from animal to animal in your herd. So you're always making management decisions based on like how you keep your herd really healthy and producing really quality milk. So yeah, that's one thing like you work with your vet on. So we have a vet that actually comes out to the farm at least once a month, more if necessary. And they look at all the cows. They check to see which ones are pregnant, but they also check to make sure everyone's in top condition. So yeah, we like to keep our cows as long as possible, just because we love them. But also just from a management perspective, you're getting a lot more value out of the animal then. But sometimes cows, like sometimes we end up with too many female cows. So then you might sell them because there might be another farm that needs more cows. Or some cows do end up like being sold to like places that raise them for beef. So yeah, just because a cow's leaving our farm doesn't mean that's the end of the road for that cow. It's just onto a different pasture. Yeah.
You were also mentioning about having like new tractors that are very much like automatically doing stuff by itself.
Yep, there are those. We don't have them.
so with this growing technology,
yes,
and in the farming area, Golspie, how much it adapted to the technology.
How much
in addition to the vending machine?
Yeah, so we have much more technology on like the plant side than we do on the farm side. We'd love to be able to invest in more technology on the farm side. Like ideally, I'd love to build my cows and my husband a new barn with a lot more automation because it'll be nicer for all of them. But right now we've invested heavily in the processing side. So really, I got to sell a lot of milk and a lot of cheese so then I can spoil them. That's kind of our business plan right now. Is like we've decided to add value to the product and then eventually we can then grow our farm, so hopefully be able to milk more cows in a nicer, newer facility.
Since the vending machine was introduced in Golspie, right, you might have often having a discussion or conversation with the local community who is trying to use the vending machine rather having a direct interaction to get a milk directly at the store, and from my own experience I can say I go to a store, grab a bag and then just leave. Right, when it is a vending machine, there are going to be some way of interacting with the vending machine. No, it's not a human to human interaction. There are few steps that needs to be performed to get a bottle of milk and step out of the dairy. And how often do you happen to engage with the customers after introducing vending machine?
Yeah, so definitely a lot of people the first time they want to learn how the vending machine works because it is pretty simple, but if you've used it, you know that you really have to like press the buttons in a certain order or the machine does not always work properly. So a lot of people like to come in the first time just to learn more about like our farm, the milk, how to use the machine. And then after that, a lot of the time, sometimes I'll see them if I'm in the store and they happen to be there. I always like to say hi. But yeah, a lot of people, they've just figured it out and they can work it. But yeah, like I think just as a customer, if you're making the choice to come out to our farm, it is a really conscious decision because it's not necessarily a convenient choice, right? Like you have to drive out to the countryside. Sometimes our road is better than others, right? Like a lot of people, they don't like driving on gravel if they don't have to. So we really appreciate that people are willing to drive on the gravel road. But then you also have to like have your own container. You have to make sure it's clean. You have to like use the machine to fill it up. So I think that's really cool that people are really embracing that and are using it. And I just like having the chance to meet them, kind of tell them a little bit more about the milk because like a lot of people, they maybe have never tried non-homogenized milk before, or they have never had milk that's like 4 or 4.5% milk fat. So I like to always like warn them about it. Like if the cream rises to the top, that's okay. It's supposed to do that. But then some people like they grew up on a farm or like they've had that type of milk before. So they're really excited to actually be able to have that milk again.
Yeah, because you don't get that exact milk anywhere.
Exactly. Or like there's a lot of like people who come because like they started buying that milk for their kids, and their kids are obsessed with it, and they're like, now I have to come get this milk all the time. And like, they're not even the ones drinking it. Their kids are just like little milk snobs and demand milk of that type. So I don't know. It's just really cool. Like, I've seen a lot of like, even in the past 2.5 years that we've been running it, or maybe 3 years, I can't even remember now. It's been really cool to see like people who bring their kids all the time and like how much their kids have changed. Like, you were a baby and now you're running around. So I don't know. It's just fun to have that community aspect. Like, we have a lot of regular customers that I like to chat with every week whenever possible. So I don't know. Like, I think if you go to the grocery store all the time, you might see like the same employees, but not really. But I think people like having the ability to have a bit of connection.
Exactly. Just go buy stuff and come back. Right?
Exactly. And I like it too because like I live out in the countryside. I didn't grow up in the countryside. So like not getting to see people all the time has been a bit of an adjustment. So if I get to see people and chat with them, it helps me feel a little less lonely too. The cows and the cats and my family are great, but it's nice to see other people too.
So there are people who is making a decision to come to a farm store or a farmer's market than than going to a grocery store. People who really want to go something to take fresh or eat fresh. What are different type of conversation they are having with you, exchanging with you? In different avenues.
Well, I think we're lucky in the sense that like if people are making the decision to come all the way to our farm, like they're probably in a pretty good mood. So like they have a little bit of free time. They're going out to the countryside. So like all the conversations are always really great. I'm lucky that I don't have people that are upset or in a rush or anything. Because, like if you're upset or in a rush, you're not going to go. You're just going to go home. So, yeah, there's always people, they want to know about like our cows. They want to know how like the crops are going, or they want to know how my kid's doing, or like we had a wedding on the farm recently, so they want to chat about that. So, I don't know. It's just like little conversations about life. Or we get to talk about cows, or we get to talk about, if you've gone to our dairy, you'll see like there's a big pollinator garden when you drive up. There's all these different plants, and it's something that I really love, and I like looking at all the plants. So some people are really into plants, so then we talk about plants or all the different insects. So there's all sorts of bumblebees. We have a lot of birds on the farm too. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's no one specific conversation. It's just everything. If you have a question, I like to try to answer it. Some people are really into cheese, so then we got to talk about cheese.
Exactly. The other day we both came to the farm.
Okay.
And I think your mother-in-law is here there.
Yeah.
We just introduced ourselves and started talking about what products and whatever, and then the conversation without knowing it went up to half an hour. Right? Like it's a different kind of
But I think that's like a countryside thing. I think like that's something I had to get used to when I moved out to the countryside. Like people are always working out in the countryside, but if you run into someone and you have the opportunity to chat, it's never a short conversation, right? Because you don't always see people, so you're like, you know what? We're here. Let's just chat about everything.
Exactly.
Or who knows how long, because there's always work to do.
Exactly.
Right? Like
they may have all the time in the world.
Exactly. You have all the time in the world because you also have all the work in the world. So you know what? It can wait a little longer because it's always going to be there waiting for you.
Exactly. The work is always there.
Yeah.
So with the vending machine that when it was introduced in 2020,
yeah,
how much awareness it was given to the community that something new is available in Golspie Dairy?
I think a lot of people are very excited about it. Initially, actually, when we put the vending machine in it had 2 types of milk in it. So you could get 1 liter of whole milk, or you could get 1 liter of chocolate milk. So I think a lot of people are very excited about the chocolate milk. I liked it too, but like the novelty wore off. But also, because the machine was dispensing a liter of milk and the bottles held exactly a liter, there was a lot of milk spilled everywhere, and a lot of chocolate milk spilled everywhere is just a huge sticky mess. So eventually we had enough people that really liked the whole milk that they were like, you know what? I love this milk, but I want to buy more of
More,
it than a
yeah.
liter. And it's really inconvenient to have to pay for each liter individually. Like, we had some people, they would come and fill up 12 bottles. They're like, my card has reached its tap limit. The bank has cut me off. I can't
Okay.
tap it 12 times in a row because of like anti-fraud things.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So then we did some digging and we modified the milk vending machine. So now you can buy either a quart of milk, which is a little less than a liter, which is perfect because it'll fill your bottle, but it won't overflow. So you won't get milk everywhere on you, on the machine, in your car.
Yeah.
And then we also changed from a chocolate milk tap to a 1 gallon tap. So then it gives you basically almost 4 liters of milk. So that works out a lot better for people who really like the milk and want to get a decent amount at a time. So. A lot of people do miss the chocolate milk, and we have now made it just like a holiday only thing. So we do it 3 times a year at Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. But yeah, for me and my workflow and the ability to like keep the milk really fresh in the vending machine and help the people who do want more milk at a time, it's been a really good decision, even though it has made a lot of people very sad because they really like the chocolate milk.
So if I sit in a farm, and looking at the farm or the crops, I know the value of crop.
Yeah.
Right. But someone who is driving from the nearby city or driving through a countryside, just to have a feel of how things are here.
Yeah.
When I get say it could be a vegetable or it could be a milk from the vending machine.
Yeah.
What is the value that they really feel by getting something from the farm, or basically what you want to say to them when they come to you to buy something in the farm?
Yeah, so I guess like for me it's really cool to be able to sell something directly to the end consumer, because for like forever the farm had been producing milk and then it just went out into the world. We didn't know who was consuming it. We didn't know if they liked it. We had no feedback. It was just we produced the milk, it left the farm. So for us, it's really cool to produce the milk, pasteurize the milk, and then like have people buy it who are going to consume it and then tell us, hey, this is really good, right? Like I think everyone likes getting positive feedback on their work. So like it's just great for us to know that like what we do and what we spend a lot of time doing has value and is making people's lives better. And I think that goes like vice versa. I think like you can go in the grocery store and there's so much food there, but like you don't see the people or the animals on the other side of it. It's very much like divorced from it. It's just, that's food in the package. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to eat it. I'm not really going to think about where it came from or how it came to be. So I think people do see a lot of value in actually like meeting the person who like put the effort in.
Exactly.
And like knowing that like all of the money is going to that person, because like we do live in such a complicated food system where like I know if I go to the grocery store, like it's a lot of money that leaves my wallet, but then like you think how much of it is actually going to go to like the person who spent a lot of time. Chances are not much. I think like a lot of people think like, oh, it can't cost that much to produce it, and that's right. Like, but as farmers, like you're only getting a small portion of it usually. So if people are buying direct from you, like you're getting a lot more.
Well, if you go to a restaurant and when you like the food, you have a chance to meet the chef.
Yes.
Right. It's not happening when you go to a grocery store.
Exactly.
Whereas coming to a farm, you'll meet the person who is growing the crops. And talk to them in person.
Yes. So it's just fun, right? It's a good activity you can do if you have time and the ability to.
So you are from a farm. So you are from a town.
Yeah.
You met your husband who is from a farm, or we don't own farm here. Right? We are doing our different business or whatever. How much percentage of Canadians do you think know where the food comes from, based on the topic that you said? You just mentioned, right, like about the grocery food in the grocery store and the difference between how much the farmer is making out of that, whatever, right? So how much percentage of Canadians do you think know what struggles does the farmer face? Where does the food come from? How does the food come from? even to the grocery store, right?
I think there are a lot of people who put a lot of effort into knowing like different farmers, going to farmers markets, really like going out in their like local rural areas and finding that local food. And there's a lot of people who are somehow related to farmers, so like they do have a concept of it, but like I know I say we work all the time, but I know that everyone works all the time. Like most people, you're working 1, 2, sometimes 3 jobs. Like everyone's working all the time. So sometimes you just do have to go to the grocery store because that's the only thing that works for your time and schedule. But I think a lot of people, like especially in recent years, have made those extra efforts to learn a little bit more about our food system and like try to find different methods of getting food that maybe aren't just like going to one grocery store all the time, right? So I think like hopefully it'll be really good. We'll see more independent grocery stores, we'll see more farmers markets, and people will really be spending more of their money and getting that money back to the people who actually produce the food. But we'll see.
In one of the recent statistics, I think even Ashok will agree to, the most consumed liquid or in form of in any form, right?
Yeah.
Coffee stands the top.
Yeah.
And more than 50% of coffee is added with milk.
Yeah.
So any consumer who is going to have milk as part of their daily routine, I'll say it could be could be from a bag of milk, it could be a carton box, it could be a milk from the dairy in a bottle, or in whatever way they want to collect and consume.
Yeah.
What are the various information that they need to aware of in general
About like the milk or
about the milk?
Yeah. I guess like most milk is pretty similar, right? Like it varies by like how much fat is left in the milk. It varies by how the milk is pasteurized, if it's homogenized, and like where specifically the milk came from. In Canada, the milk is pretty consistent unless like you're making that extra effort to go to like a place that processes their own milk and then sells it directly. So yeah, I don't know. Like we're really lucky in Canada. Like we do have really high quality milk. So like if grocery store milk, like I grew up on bagged 2% milk. It was pretty good. It has all the nutrients you need. Tastes good, and like it's healthy and safe. So and milk is just like, it's like in terms of like being like efficient for your money in terms of energy and caloric content, it's a pretty good deal.
With the Golspie Dairy, with the vending machine, which is progressing regressively in the last 3 to 4 years, maybe more than that. Now we are in 2025 now, 5th year. What exciting transformation or the improvements that we can be excited about?
Yeah, so my whole thing, I love always thinking of different dairy products to make. I would love to get a separator. I know our whole thing is we leave all the milk fat in the milk, but I would love the opportunity to like make butter, or just have a lot of people, they ask like, do you have heavy cream? I would love to be able to have heavy cream that people could then use to make their own butter or whipping cream. There's so many things that are made better with heavy cream. I'd also love to, like, I always make yogurt for our own consumption, drinkable yogurt, all different types of cultured dairy. So it would be really cool to have that in the store too. I'm always open to suggestions. There's so many different types of cheese in the world, so I'd love to make different types of cheese, but with every product that we create, you have to make sure that people actually want to buy it, and you have to make sure that it's really high quality and that your recipe is really good. So it takes a bit of it takes a lot of research and development, and then it's just a lot of extra time and money, and you got to figure out if you need other equipment. So it always takes longer than I want it to develop and then bring those new products to market.
But you do have idea about
Oh, I always have ideas.
So we are in the summer, the season of summer.
Yeah.
The schools are over.
Yeah.
There is a lot of time kids have at home. What special opportunities kids have to come to Golspie Dairy during this season? Is there any special tour they can have in the form, or what other special what are the special classes they can have it in the dairy?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any like specific things for kids to do. We do have a really cool pollinator garden just outside that we mow different paths through. So you can actually like look at the sign and it shows, I think we have 20 different types of flowers and 4 or 5 different types of grasses. So you can look at the sign and see what they look like. And then if you want, you could go and try to find them all in the pollinator garden. There's also just so many different types of insects. So if you're a kid and you're bored, you could spend a lot of time in there. I spend a lot of time looking at everything. During the month of May, as part of Tourism Oxford's Big Cheese Days, we actually host cheese making classes at our cheese making plant. So if you've ever enjoyed mozzarella and thought, how do they make it like that? Or if you've ever had like a cheese string or some sort of stretched cheese, this class basically shows you how those cheeses are formed, and it gives you instructions on how you can actually make them at home in your own kitchen. So it's a really fun class. We are only able to offer it in the month of May because it's just additional work. And we run the classes in our processing space. So it's a little bit of, we have to change our production schedule around to make sure that we can invite people in on Saturdays to a space that otherwise would be like producing food.
In one of your responses, you have rightly mentioned that when people go to grocery stores and buy groceries, how much a farmer could make. We never know how much they make directly. So when the people in and around Woodstock, how they can really contribute for farmers locally, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think if you have the time and the money to actually go to the farms themselves or to the farmers market and buy the products there, like that is the best way you can contribute. We're really lucky in Oxford County. There's a program called Oxford Fresh, and they make this really excellent map of the entire county of Oxford and all of the farms in the county that offer direct sales. So, and they have it categorized. So if you're looking for like vegetables or fruit, they have all the farms that you can go to buy the different vegetables or fruit. Dairy farms that you can go and buy the milk from. I think we might be the only ones in the area that you can buy milk from that's pasteurized. There's different places that you can buy meat. So if you're looking for chicken or lamb or beef, there's all different places you can go to buy meat directly. There's maple syrup places, there's honey. There's so many different outlets that you can buy different foods that you like to eat. And yeah, if you're interested, just search Oxford Fresh and you'll find this really cool map that'll show you everything.
What kind of improvement or support will that bring if local citizens from Woodstock or Oxford County, let's say, they go directly to the farms? How much how much support will that be for the farmers, local farmers, right? Basically, not in this county, in any local. Right?
Well, I think it just does really give farmers the opportunity to then create the products that people really want. Because right now, like if you're creating a product, you have to know that there's a market for it. So if you as a consumer, you want products that are special in some way, chances are you might not find that in the grocery store because there's just too many levels of people between that product and the person who produces it. Whereas if you're buying direct from someone, you might be able to get like that specialty product better because the farmers will see that there is a reason to grow them. So if like there's certain vegetables you want, or you want your milk pasteurized in a certain way, like sometimes the only way is by actually going direct to the source and showing that like you value it and that you support it, because otherwise chances are you're going to end up seeing a lot of the same products because they know that there's a market for it and they know grocery stores will buy it and sell it because grocery stores, they know what people will buy, they know how to do things really efficiently and economically, but then it sometimes you miss out on the opportunities for those more specialized products. So I think by going to farms, you do just get a little bit more variety, and you also know who is producing the food, and it's really fun. You get to go see more of like how it's done, right?
So for the podcast listeners, what message would you like to share for the listeners in Woodstock, or people living in Woodstock, in and around Oxford County, or people who are living anywhere within Canada?
I guess I would like to say thank you to all those who are already our customers and are keeping us going, basically. Like, you guys are the reason that we exist and continue to exist. And for everyone else, like, I don't know, just thank you for being interested and wanting to have a more diverse food system. And hopefully you can make choices in what you buy if you have the ability to support farmers directly or make a difference in the food system in some way.
This is the very first time, Marja, we are trying to do a rapid fire question with you. And now with few rapid fire questions, we'll wrap today's session. Now, what's your favorite chore on the farm, and the one you secretly dread?
My favorite chore is feeding the barn cats, and the one I hate is mowing the lawn.
So you're a morning person or a midnight bottle?
I am a morning person.
I'll come again with the question. Are you a morning person or midnight milk bottler?
Oh, I'm definitely a morning person. I often fall asleep on the couch at about 8:30.
Okay. Well, if you weren't a farmer, what would you have been now?
I don't know. I took political science in university, so I don't know if that gets you anywhere these days. Probably still be in school, I guess.
Your go-to food after a long day at farm?
Macaroni and cheese. It's so good and so easy.
The oddest question any customer has ever asked you?
Oh, there's so many. A lot of people just don't understand how cows work. A lot of people also expect us to be feeding our cows on pasture in January. So that's always a fun thing to remind them that snow means that the cows are inside.
Exactly.
Your favorite animal in the farm? Don't worry, no one knows.
I have a favorite barn cat.
Oh, it's not the cows.
I love all the cows, but the cats are some of my favorites.
Yeah. Good. Would you rather deal with a cow or a broken vending machine?
Stubborn cow.
Okay. Would you rather deal with a stubborn cow or a broken milk bottle cooler?
Oh, I would definitely take the stubborn cow. A broken milk cooler just means a whole lot of expenses.
Okay. In terms of expense, I thought you were talking about the activities, the maintenance. Okay.
Yeah. What is the most underrated dairy product people should be eating more?
Oh, I don't know. There's so many out there, but I think people just need to drink more milk.
Right?
It's so good. You don't need to do anything to it.
What song or playlist is always playing in the background of Golspie?
Oh, so I'm always listening to podcasts, but my husband, whenever he's milking the cows, he has a really vast collection of music that him and the cows like to listen to.
Cows listen to?
Oh, yeah.
One thing you would ban from grocery store milk forever?
I think... Oh, I don't know. Grocery store milk, it's just different. It's depending on how they pasteurize it. I guess I would say I would ban American milk from Canadian grocery stores because you can find it sometimes. Look for that blue cow, folks.
Strangest thing you have ever seen happening during milking? Strangest thing that you ever seen happening during milking?
Usually it goes according to plan. Sometimes like a hose breaks, so then you'll just see all of a sudden something going wrong. Or we've had power outages sometimes right during milking, so that's just a pain.
No cows behaving strangely?
No, the cows are usually pretty happy.
Okay.
They should be used to the people they see
Oh,
every day.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, they're used to us.
If Golspie had a mascot animal or human, who or what would that be?
Oh, it would be Mrs. Monty. She is one of our barn cats. Sometimes she actually likes to hang out on the picnic table right outside the dairy.
the
So I think many people have met her. She's very friendly.
Yeah, the black cat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Monty, okay.
Yeah, Mrs. Monty.
So milk in coffee or coffee in milk?
Oh, I love to start my day with a latte. So that's definitely a little bit of coffee and a lot of milk.
What's your superpower on the farm? Multitasking, intuition, or raw strength?
Oh, I'm definitely not the raw strength person. I am the multitasker.
Yeah. Nice.
If you had to name one of your cows after a famous celebrity, who would that be and why?
So all of our cows have names, so there have been many named after celebrities. I think one of the recent ones was we did have a Beyonce, and she was a bit of a diva.
Okay.
That brings to the end of the rapid fire question. Thank you so much, Marja, for being
Thank you
with
for
us today.
having me.